I'm Sherry Prindle. I've delivered over 5,000 presentations and hundreds of topics over 20 some years. And a question I get asked a lot is how do you improve your ability to present without ums and ahs and like and other fillers? And my answer is I've struggled with this. It's funny, the minute I overcome one filler, I tend to replace it with another one. So clearly, humans need something to buy them time when they're trying to think of something. And many experts will say the best thing to fill the space with is space, quiet. You've got to make it clear, though, that that was intentional, because if I'm just thinking, that can be a little distracting. Is she okay? Did she forget her words? Is she frozen if you are remote? So if you decide that you want to go full on and use silence, then it's rather important to have a face or a stance that you want to use in place of the So when I find myself needing something, we tend to look up when we're trying to think things through. We tend to look out into space. Instead, if I'm virtual, I try to look into the camera. I try to be intentional, like I might purse my lips or cross my hands or put my hand on my face. And that way they know that I'm pondering. Other words like so or well don't seem to be quite as distracting to people as the ums and the likes tend to be. And it's less distracting if you have two or three different words that you use so that it's not always the same one. So, how do you catch yourself? That's the answer. First of all, just get really intentional. Right now, I am recording this video. So, all of my attention is going to my delivery and making sure that how I'm speaking is precise. If I get into a full 3 hour training program, I lose track of that. And the next thing you know, I'm umming and liking all over the place. But is that really a problem at that point? Because at that point, I've already established rapport. We already have credibility with our audience. And if we have a few ums at that point, it's okay because we're more casual. We're rolling up our sleeves here. So I would point out the fact that the ums don't so much matter once you've already made a good first impression. So be really diligent, especially if you do an intro. It's interesting when people are describing themselves and they say, my name is Sherry Prindle and I live in, those are things that you really should know, right? So also that first part of a presentation, if you just nail that and have that ready, a few ums after that don't hurt anything. But mostly, if you really wanted to work on them, be intentional. Say, I'm going to notice my ums. Tell other people, let me know when I see them, or let me know if you hear others. Go ahead and record yourself. And nowadays, AI. So a lot of your platforms like this will record for you. And a lot of times they'll count the ums for you. There's a AI, I just said called Udely that will count your ums and critique your speaking. So Toastmasters is another place where they become really intentional about pointing out your ums. And it feels good. I have to say that when I am really focused on avoiding those, what comes along with that is I end up having much more intense, high energy facial expressions and gestures, and everything is tighter. So you can't sustain that for a long, long presentation, but you can sustain it for an intro. You can sustain it for important segments, but you're human, and being human is all right as soon as you've made that first impression.